Thank you for joining us now. Here are some of the stories we're filing at this time. I am Franco Omalape. We'll begin from the Federal Camp 2 territory, where Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, has said that the federal government is to invest heavily in all aspects of the agricultural value chain to ensure adequate and quality data for successful policies in the agricultural sector. The minister disclosed these in Abuja on Monday. The minister stated that the agriculture sector was important to the federal government, which was why President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration had invested heavily in it since 2015, citing that the investment was aimed at increasing output in the entire value chain to meet the country's demand for food, export, and employment. She also commented that agriculture has consistently recorded positive growth because of the investment and attention to it, despite the security challenges encountered in some parts of the country. On how to increase the total output and develop it to maximize its potential throughout the entire value chain, he says the government is working on it. And now Nigeria, Algeria, and the Niger Republic yesterday moved to reactivate the $13 billion TRANS-SAHARAN natural gas pipeline project as demand pressure continues to mount from within the continent and Europe. Speaking during a meeting with ministers of energy of participating nations on the revamping of the project in Abuja, Minister of State Petroleum Ppmc noted that the completion of the project was long overdue. He added that pressure was from Europe to revamp up supply to the continent against the backdrop of the Russia-Ukraine war, given that gas has become a weapon of international war, has become critical. More than ever before, Silva noted that the project needed to be fast-tracked, stressing that on the side of Nigeria, the AKK was already in full swing. Silva stressed that a lot of financing and organizations were interested in the project, describing it as a very viable one with Nigeria's proven reserve of roughly 206 trillion cubic feet and an upside of 600 trillion cubic feet. In his comment, the Algerian Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Akab, noted that the TSGP will have a significant and positive impact on the socio-economic development of African countries. The idea of the Trans-Saharan pipeline was first proposed in the 70s, and the project was first seen as an opportunity to diversify the European Union's gas supplies. The pipeline, of which the Nigerian section has been named the Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano, starts from the Warri and runs north through Niger to Hassi Armel in Algeria, where it will connect the existing Trans-Mediterranean and Magro-Europe and Medgas and Gauzy pipelines. And in the meantime, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria yesterday faulted the pipelines and product marketing company for the recent scarcity of premium motor spirit in the country. The chairman Ipman Lagos Satellite Depot, Mr. Akinrade, at a media briefing in Lagos stated that since December 2021, not a litre of PMS had been lifted at the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation's satellite depot at Ejigbo, leaving independent marketers to the hands of private depots who had said that have increased their export to a level of no longer sustainable to sell PMS at 165 naira. He stated that the prevailing scarcity of petrol was due to its members' inability to replenish their stock based on the current price of loading PMS from private depots. He recommended that based on current economic realities, the sustainable price to sell PMS should be pegged at 180 naira per litre. According to him, most of its members have shut down their stations not because they are on strike, but because the operating environment was no longer sustainable to do business under the current price of PMS. He pointed out that the immediate challenge to its members was the inability to load from NNPC depots, saying the only option was to depend on private depots along Apapa, Abolado, and the Lekki Free Trade Zones, who he said have increased the REX depot price to a level no longer sustainable for its members to sell at 165 naira per litre. He, however, stated that Nigeria was not immune to the effect of the Russian-Ukraine war, saying that Nigeria's dependence on imports of Ppmc is impacting negatively on the economy. The war has jacked up the price everywhere across the globe, so it is not as if our members are trying to sabotage the federal government. It is just that we can no longer sustain the price they are giving us. So unless the government intervenes by bringing the product to our depots for us to buy at 148 naira 17 kobo per litre as against 162 naira, how do we break even? We want Nigerians to know that we are patriotic and corporate Nigerians, and we want the government to do what needs to be done to address this challenge. End of quote. And now the World Bank has stated that Nigeria's external reserves are expected to decline as the Central Bank of Nigeria is expected to clear a $1.7 billion worth of FX backlog and FX forward contract by the end of October 2022. The World Bank also projects that Nigeria would experience net portfolio outflows in 2022 due to the hawkish monetary policy seen in developed countries. The bank said foreign portfolio investment inflows grew significantly in 2021, exceeding $6 billion, and this followed a significant decline in 2020 in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, when net outflows reached $3.6 billion. The World Bank stated that with the continued hiking of interest rates in the U.S. and other advanced economies due to rising inflation, net portfolios inflows to Nigeria are expected to drop under 1% of GDP in 2022. The pre-election environment is also likely to add to the hesitance of portfolio investors, keeping net inflows low. And now the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has reiterated its commitment to ensuring every segment of the society is covered in the ongoing financial inclusion initiative of the federal government. The Director General, SEC, Lamido Yuguda, who stated this in Lagos, assured that the Commission is committed to ensuring that more Nigerians are captured in the digitization of the economy through the financial inclusion policy. Represented at the conference by Sadatu Farouk, head of Financial Inclusion Division, the Market Development Department, SEC, Yuguda said financial inclusion is achieved when individuals and businesses have access to useful and affordable financial products and services. The product and services, they stated, must meet the needs of individuals and businesses and must be delivered sustainably and responsibly. According to him, quote, achieving financial inclusion involves the coming together of multiple stakeholders from federal government, policymakers, regulators to private industries, including employers, educational systems, communities, and individuals. There is a global recognition and acceptance for the achievement of financial inclusion through a focus on digital technology. The SEC boss assured that with the help of the fast-growing fintech penetration in the economy and financial systems, more Nigerians will be captured and be more protected to effectively navigate the nation's financial systems through the enabling channels, including the capital market, insurance, and savings. Yuguda disclosed that the Commission has created new standards and rules for the registration and operations of fintech firms in the market to ensure compliance with global standards and adequate protection of investment. And in the meantime, the International Air Transport Association has said that Nigerian airlines and others across Africa will lose about $700 million in 2022 due to a combination of the Russia-Ukraine war and COVID-19. This was disclosed at the ongoing 70th IATA Annual General Meeting and World Air Transport Summit in Doha, Qatar. IATA said that inflation, interest rate, and exchange rates would affect the growth of the aviation industry globally, stressing that countries should learn from the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking at the summit, IATA's Director General Willie Walsh said governments must have learned their lessons from the COVID-19 crisis. The IATA listed risk factors to the aviation sector, including the war in Ukraine and COVID-19.